split conversation with me, Tina.
In Cyprus and me, Marie, in the UK.
Yeah, look at that. How many 5,000 miles apart? And
Yeah.
we're
No,
still together.
miss you.
I look like I'm in the army now. Look.
I know you look like you're going for it. You're going to go out in the fields.
Definitely not, no. Too cold, it's chucking it down outside.
Oh,
So, for
yeah.
this week's conversation, I mean, it's Christmas Eve. That's strange
Yeah.
enough, isn't
At
it?
the time of recording this, yes, Christmas Eve 2024.
Which yesterday was my birthday, and it was one of the crappiest birthdays ever, but hey. So, today we are going to talk about bereavement with pets, if that's what we want to title it as. But it does involve human bereavement as well, because I wanted to do this because something beautiful and sad happened at the same time. And it
Yeah.
made me think about when you lost your little doggy, Misty. Yeah. And I've lost 3 dogs in a
3.
matter of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of them was my mum's dog, which my mum died in 2017. So her dog was really young then, probably about a year and a half to 2.
Yeah.
His name was Panda, and he was a scruffy Cyprus terrier,
Panda Pops.
a mental dog. I'm getting hot
Yeah.
now. I've got a bit of Baileys in hot chocolate.
Really?
I'm accompanied by some
That
wonderful.
Bella.
Yes, Fat Belly Bella. Anyway, so he was taken ill suddenly. He
Yeah.
was old-ish, not that old really, but for this country, dogs tend to not live that long, do they? For some reason,
Yeah.
I think it's a lot to do with the air and the dust in the air. Same with the horses; they don't live long.
Yeah.
He was taken in and maybe was going to make a recovery. We didn't know, and then was it the second or the third day before I took him in because he was going every day. I had a visit from my mum, and I was just in meditation and eyes closed on the land with all the other dogs, listening to some handpan music. And she was there in the field, and she just said, "I'm waiting for Panda." And I think there was a small conversation which might have been, is Panda going to make it? And it was something like, I'm waiting for him. So I thought, oh, okay, he probably won't make it then. So I think the next day I went in with him to the vet, and he was seriously worried about Panda. He said he's going to have to go in for emergency surgery. So I said, if it's anything terminal, put him to sleep while he's under. So I left him. Wasn't planned, but he had to be left there. I went back to the land, meditated again, and while I was meditating, my mum was there in the same field, and I bought Panda a ball the day before because he loves his balls, he loves his toys. And I had his ball in my hand, and all of a
Oh,
sudden, Panda just come running towards her, and then I threw her the ball, and then I, she sort of, come on, Panda, and he come like wagging his tail, and she made a fuss of him, and I said, throw the ball, he loves it. So she threw the ball, and he picked up the ball, and he brought it back, and then something come over me, and she just sort of nodded, and they went, and I opened my eyes, and then within 5 minutes, I got the call from the vet to say he'd just been put to sleep. while he was under because he was terminally ill. There was nothing they could do. And I
Yeah.
knew at that point, before, you know, when I spoke to my mum, that that was the point that he crossed over.
Yeah.
My mum had come to greet him because she said she was waiting for him. So she waited and they went off into the meadows. So
Yeah.
it was sad, it was lovely, and I went to pick up his body and buried him on the land. Unfortunately, Dave, the other dog, had his ball, the real ball. So that's in pieces now. But yeah, he's now buried on the land. And then obviously yesterday I had another dog I had to have put to sleep because he was really old and failing. So that happened.
Gavalo!
And we buried him yesterday on my birthday in the complete and utter pissing down rain and mud like you wouldn't know, that red earth, in and out of the
Yeah.
kitchen. It was just like a red mud pit. So yeah, he went yesterday over the Rainbow Bridge. And
Did you?
I
Sorry.
did with him, sorry, I did with him because he hasn't really got any connections of humans on the other side, but where he came from, which was Boaz Harbour, when we took him years ago, all the dogs there died except for him because there was an outbreak of distemper. And his little lady friend, Arabella, she died as well. So I said, as he was, you know, going, he had one injection and then he was like to sleep, and then the next one does the job, I guess. I said to him, Arabella's waiting for you. And I closed my eyes, and I saw her, and then I saw him. And then, like, while he was asleep, he just took his last breath and went, and it was very quick, and he was gone.
Well,
And
you
then
told me this. Yeah, you told me this.
the vet said to
And
me, he's gone, and he checked his heart, and there was a little flinch, and I did
yeah, 'cause
cry.
you know, I've lost two mates while I've been away. It's quite heartbreaking, isn't it? There's no description sometimes that you can put on it how you feel, and I, I just think that I think it gives people. I'm to be honest with you, sometimes I used to get so jealous of people like yourself in the past, where you can see them, yeah,
And you
you
know,
can channel
something
them. You know that they've gone somewhere and that they're with people or with other animals that cared for them in the past or they have a connection with. And that's a good thing. It's a comforting thing as well. And the souls of pets for people, when you're doing readings as well, their energy that comes through, it's amazing, isn't it? It is amazing. I'm
I
so
mean, you know,
sorry.
a lot of dogs. Obviously, we're a dog sanctuary. They come and go. You know, I've lost three,
Yeah.
and someone we've got a tiny puppy who's not
Got a
very
new friend, ain't ya?
yeah, which we haven't named yet, but maybe Bailey because I like me Baileys, which I've got any hot chocolate
Oh, got-
because I need the
um,
drink. But you know, with other dogs that we've had, Merlin was our very first rescue German Shepherd, which we brought over from UK to here. We had two of them, Merlin and Bella, two German Shepherd rescues. And when Merlin died, he was like an old soul. You know, when you look into their eyes, like you said, with Misty. And
well,
afterwards, I
yeah.
saw him as a human. He was a walking,
Wow, I was
talking
just going to
human.
say, hello, warrior girl. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you very much appreciated. Well, you said about looking in their eyes. I was going to bring that up. I think it could be any like cat, dog, but dogs in our case. There's some dogs that look at you, some pets, let's say, that look at you, and they're talking to you. You
Yeah,
feel it. You
yeah.
feel something. I mean, Wolfie, one of the rescue dogs. Oh my God, he's got eyes that would melt your
Oh,
heart.
mm.
Yeah,
You can
melt your.
see the difference in the characters of all the dogs. We do have a lot of scatty hunting dogs, and they just
Yeah,
want love and attention, and they are scatty and they jump about like idiots. But Wolfie, I mean, he's a bit of a husky mix. He's like a caramel colour, isn't he? But he's got
yeah.
like the orangey eyes. Has he
Reminds
got?
me of a mountain dog. He does
He's
that you
got
see
a
on the
half.
film.
Yeah, he's got like a half blue, half orange
I
eye,
call him
hasn't he?
David Bowie, don't I? David Bowie because of his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's so chilled, and there's something different about him.
And he keeps people in line, doesn't he? He's the leader.
He's the pack leader. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and coming back to eyes and things like that, when I looked into my Misty's eyes when she was in the vets, and I kept my focus right on her so she knew I was there.
Yeah.
And I really don't care if anybody believes me, but I said to her, I'm okay. I'm going to go. I'm okay. You can go if you want. It's okay. I said, you go to, people might think it's funny, but I don't get fatty. It was a term of endearment. My deaf boxer. And I said to her, go to Fatty. She'll be waiting for you.
Mm.
And I know. And she actually, after that, she just went, I think she was fighting. I said, I'm going to be okay. Because she was just
Yeah,
my mate through everything. And you feel that connection. And that's what I'm trying to get through. You feel a certain connection. Like people have personalities. Some people treat animals with disdain and they're horrible to them.
it's funny because I base people on whether they like animals or not. And if they're
Yeah,
like, they haven't got time for animals, I haven't got time for them.
yeah. Have you ever
It's
done a reading? Have you ever done a reading or anything for somebody and a pet's come through?
Yes, I have. Yeah, and it's like I've seen them. Like I see people. They might be like
Yeah,
standing beside them or behind them or sitting on the floor. Also, like with ghosts, I've not seen a ghost dog, but when
yeah,
I first got
yeah,
married years ago, I think I told you we had like a little. He was like a little sausage dog mix mongrel thing, and he used to sit at the top of the stairs. And when I'd go to the loo during the night, I'd cross the top of the staircase, and I'd always accidentally tread on him, barefoot for his fur. And after he died, I walked across there to go to the loo, and then I cursed him. I went like, kicking him out of the way, and then went
sorry.
down the stairs. And then I was in the toilet, and I thought, he's dead. He's not here. But I was
Yeah,
100% sure he was sitting at the top of them stairs because I felt the solidness of his fur, his body on my toes. He was there. So there's that as well, like letting you know they're there. And I know with humans, they leave things about in places. Sometimes I found keys in weird places. My aunt had a pub. We spoke about this in the Cosmic Convo before, where there was a ghost of a guy. Nothing, just died of old age, but he loved that pub, and it was an old English pub, but it had
yeah,
been
sorry.
rebuilt. My aunt had it, and she would find like keys in the fridge, or you'd see the doors swing. There was all like mirrors on the walls and like a secret door, and you in the corner of your eye you'd see the door. It was a heavy door, but you'd see the reflection of the mirror swing, and then there was like just weird things happening, and it was just him. It was just like letting people know he was there, or he was just a bit mischievous.
They make their presence known, don't they? Basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Like anyone. We have somebody who's got in touch. I can't see her name, but is in Brazil, and they have two friends called I can't see it very well. Taran and Hagi, I think it is. I presume they're either cats or dogs.
Bloody nose, because it has been
Oh,
a
it's
roller
worrying.
coaster.
Sorry, as well.
So
But thank you for joining us. I mean, if you have any
experiences with pets,
experiences, yeah, just let us know. It's very hard from where I'm sitting to see.
I've
Cat,
most of
oh,
the
got cat ghosts. She's got cat ghosts in her house. Fair enough. Fair enough.
interesting. Your own cats? Like they've been your own cats.
Two cats, two ghosts.
I haven't got the glasses on, so I can't read.
And you're not close up, are you?
No.
Yeah, I think like by talking about this, it's like we talk about people, we talk about connecting with humans and all that. But I genuinely, I genuinely just I know my Misty's there. I know she's there sometimes, when she first passed, I used to see her. And literally see her walking past.
Yeah.
And I go,
And
I don't see her now.
You might see it out of the corner of your eye, don't you?
Yeah. And I really did see her. I went, all right, miss. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It doesn't faze me. Do you think that having having feelings
Like
for
a
other
connection.
than for humans, yeah, connections, that it brings you you see, I'm finding it hard to say, okay, this is where I'm coming from, sorry. You know, we say there's somewhere where people go, wherever you want that to be, right? Are you saying that we all go to the same place with dogs? Because they always say, or cats or whatever, but they all say over the rainbow, don't they?
The bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is just a saying for pets, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, we are all energy, and I think we all do return to source. Hence, me seeing Merlin, my German Shepherd, as a person, and we walked and we spoke, walked and chatted along the path while I was walking the dogs, while I was walking my other dogs. Sometimes I just go off into a trance, and then I'll stop, close my eyes, and the beautiful surroundings that we've got with the mountains. It's so easy to connect to the earth and the universe there. It's just lovely. And I do just stop, and then sometimes I just close my eyes and get in touch. And there he was. And then I was actually physically walking along with him, half and half with my eyes closed to keep connected as such. But I do it with my mum as well.
Yeah.
Or spirit guides. And I've done what's it called? When I connected and actually went to the moon while I was standing in the field.
In the field. Yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah, we did a podcast on that. So a lot of things happen to me when I'm out in the fields because you're disconnecting. I don't take my phone, away from Wi-Fi, and it's the best way to connect, isn't it? To not have Wi-Fi around you and any disturbances.
Well, while we're doing this pod, old girly, Wally girly, she was saying that she wished she could see her dog. I hope I'm saying this correctly. Again, I can't see it very well. Chica, that passed last year, a week from now, and she says, but I felt her a couple of times. Absolutely, it's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, on our Cosmic Sisters Tarot, I did a pick-a-pile reading for pets over the Rainbow Bridge after one of the past, I can't remember who it was at the time, and I got really emotional just doing the reading because I could feel pets coming through. And
Yeah.
it's the same as people, you know, you do feel an overwhelming, there's just something about animals that I connect with more with animals, I think because I'm a bit autistic, but like and not so good with social skills with people, and don't like being around a lot of people. But obviously, look, I've got 3 dogs on the bed, one on the floor. We've got 12 dogs in the house, so it is a bit mental. Oh, here's Bella. And
Hello, Bella.
when I used to work in the dog shelter, Bella was in one of the cages, and the place is horrific. In countries like this, it's not like warm and cosy. It floods with rain. They live outside on you know, the dog shanty towns on pallets,
Well, the
and
one,
they get killed in there because it's overcrowded. It's awful. And she was the tiniest and was just literally hiding underneath a pallet. And I thought, she's got to come out of there.
well,
Worst place
I
to work.
also, yeah, I also feel if you can be in tune, and you know, a pet's pet, I'll say pet, but let's say dogs because we are talking about dogs today. Is that you can be in tune with them. What I meant that by that is, it's even better in the sense if you know their past, like you do, Bella. But there's another one called his name's gone out my head. Oh God, me mate. Oh no, what's his name? Oh, the one who's in the small area for 6 years.
Gary.
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 For some
Gary.
reason, Gary's name wouldn't come to me.
Gary means strange in Turkish. It's actually a common name for donkeys and dogs. And he already had that name when he was in there. And he was a completely different dog in the shelter. He was, you know, he's got no teeth. Well, he's old now, and he's got leash. Obviously, it's a disease that they get from
Yeah, but
sandflies.
see what I'm getting at is because you know you've seen him, you know his past. Don't you feel something with Gary, like as if he's like, you know,
He's
don't worry
grateful.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's definitely grateful. You can tell. I mean, he only had 6 weeks to live, and we've had him since 2020.
yeah.
And
So I'm
he was
saying the
on.
feelings that you get from people, you know, when you're getting feelings from people, you're tuning into people. I don't think some people realise how much of a connection you can get with an animal, like with Diego, the horse who's passed.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know what as well? I've actually been with them like we did with Diego at that second when they've passed. And sometimes I've actually seen that it's like a light or something. Once even it was a rat or I can't remember, a rat or a mouse that was killed by someone I know's cats. And at the point of death, we saw this light escape and go up. And it literally, it was like a panic escape. And it was like the energy went. Someone's
Somebody's
trying to
it's all right.
that's my oh yeah. So I
Oh,
don't know if you heard
yeah,
the back of there.
I was going to say that it does become a, okay. You know, I'm finding it hard because I'm trying not to cry, but you know when people pass, right?
Yeah.
When they've passed, I, I they don't put them on like your animal, your pet, whatever, on the same level as a human. The grief that you feel, the loss you
Yeah.
feel.
I found it very hard with my mum. I didn't cry, I think, for a long time. And you know the story, it's personal. And I haven't been there. I've been there once or twice to the grave, what there is left of the grave.
Do you
But
remember what I said to you before I left?
yes,
Do
about
you,
going now. Yeah,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that was before Panda was really
yeah.
unwell.
Mm. But
That's
I've
weird.
spoken to her since. Yeah, I have spoke to her since, and I seem to be connecting a lot more. And I think it does take years, and it works both ways because people don't understand. Some people don't. If they cross over and they've been locked into a religion, they don't understand where they are. And we spoke about the life between life, the Bardo state.
Yeah.
So, do animals go through that state of that it's a transition?
Yeah.
That dog uses, and then they're in the hallway, the waiting room before the next one. And I've known a lot of people that have said that humans just reincarnate as humans, and
This is
maybe
where I
through.
was going to ask you. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember being a wolf. I even remember thousands of years ago being a tree and living for over 100 years and being a really tall tree and just swaying in the wind, and I could feel it, and being the wolf. I think that closeness to the fur is why I love dogs, especially the thick fur that you can bury your hands into. I do love huskies and German shepherds, and I think that's that connection with the thick fur there. So can you read any of these?
Yes, I'm
I'm
just saying
from,
New
is that
York, and
New
she
York?
had snow last night, probably 45
Oh,
inches.
wow. See, we had torrential rains, and like I said, we buried Gavin out in the garden in torrential rain, got absolutely covered in mud. And the dogs were running in and out of mud, and it was quite a shallow grave, but we put the slabs on top like we did with little sausage. And yeah, luckily they haven't dug any up yet.
Yeah,
But my land is like a graveyard of dogs, and I'm selling the land, so hopefully no one digs it up too soon and wants to put a house on it because they'll find loads of skeletons of horses and dogs.
yeah,
Um,
I'm coming to like in my thinking now is that we're saying like we reincarnate, however you want to say it, come back, um, uh, and we choose where to go or we don't choose where to go, whatever. But do you feel sometimes when you're with one of the rescue dogs that we've said it before about the eyes and talking and things like that? Do you feel that you see more than a dog? That's what I'm trying to say. Or you feel more than the shape or
Definitely.
form it's
It's
in.
not just, oh, look, it's a cute dog. Aren't they lovely? There's so much more beyond that you do see into the soul. And some of them they're naughty dogs, but as you know, and some of
Yeah,
them, a lot of them are mentally traumatized because they've been rescued. And
yeah.
you can understand where they're coming from. There's an innocence with animals, isn't there?
And
And I
it's
think
and
I'm
it's very
more
unconditional sometimes.
that's that
Unconditional.
is it. I think humans are too judging, and
Yeah,
dogs dogs don't, do they? They don't. Animals don't. Cats don't. They don't judge you. I mean, they
yeah,
say you can never own a cat, which is true, probably, because they do have different characters to dogs. But I've had all different pets. I've had an iguana, and they have the same DNA as humans, and they have the
right.
same like the cycles, women's cycles. And mine used to get very protective. He was a male. He used to get protective over me with my partner when I had my time of the month. He would literally come barging out of his. He had huge vivarium, but he was free to come in and out, and he would slide his door open and go off and attack my partner. And like, you're not coming near her. So
Thanks.
even
Yeah.
reptiles, there's still a connection.
thanks, Warrior Girl, for your input here. Yeah, about the judgment
I like
of
hoomums.
dogs. Yeah,
German
and
one
yeah,
of my friends, definitely. And we've got a lot of crossbreds. We've got 4 sisters, haven't we, on the land that crossbred German Shepherds. I think they're like a kangaroo mix because they have that extra claw. And they're a little bit more psycho. But I think living in a pack makes them that
a bit
more
more protective
semi-wild.
of themselves and things like that. I just wanted to come back to how we perceive when we lose. Sometimes I don't like to say pet. I think it's a friend. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
a
you
friend
said that.
who understands you. They understand you. I'll tell you what. Okay, they understand you. Know you that. Let me say,
Oh, I
like
say mum
Alvin. I'll go Alvis, and he'll go. Oh, my mum's a bit upset with me. I
yeah,
think you know
mum,
what I mean.
exactly,
But seconds later, he's there, giving me munchies or pouring me or whatever. And I'm just saying, I just want to get back to the fact that the animals that are around us, I think sometimes are our protectors.
You mean
I think,
in spirit? In
well,
spirit, like, you know,
I think in spirit and on this mortal coil, because I wouldn't have got through the last 6 months without the understanding, let's say, of my dogs.
yeah. And you know, with going back to when Diego died, I think it was a
Yeah,
day or two after. I was standing by the gate where he was buried there, wasn't he? And I looked out to the field opposite, and my other horse that had passed away a few years back, Yıldız, which means star in Turkish. She was standing in the field, and all of a sudden I see him galloping over to her, and I went, "See ya,
yeah,
bye." And he went off. They went
yeah,
off galloping. So she came and met him, type of thing,
yeah,
because that they lived together, obviously. And he was so distraught when she was being buried. And they're not very tactful here. And obviously, the crane came, and I had to separate him from where she was being buried in the field. He was going berserk, galloping up and down. So obviously, he's been standing next to her body because she died during the night, and not very nice. But the dogs had to go at her. But digging the big digger came and then picked up her body in the, I don't know what you call it, and then sort of threw her into the ground. And poor Diego was going mental. So I know he was stressed out over how her body was being treated. He must have known that she'd passed. I think the
yeah,
dogs know. We've had, you've seen it. We've had dogs that die and the other dogs come over and smell, and I always let them say goodbye and let them know that the dog's dead if the dog's on the land. Obviously, sometimes
yeah.
that dog's dead, it's gone. And then they're like,
So,
oh, some of them don't care.
well, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you one I've got. Do you remember? Um, Warrior Girl grew up on a small family farm, and she's seen some amazing things, all sorts of animals. Yeah, we could go like one podcast on dogs, one on cats,
Yeah.
one on giraffes, whatever. But I'll give you a story. Like a Sony Walkman, but a tape. I mean, there are all sorts of other tape recordings, but a tape, and you could do what is it, a voice recording machine, right, from years ago with a tape.
Dictating, yeah,
Yeah,
dictaphone
right.
thing.
Well, my dad was. He said, "Could I borrow it off me?" I went, yeah, he was putting some thoughts down. He was putting some thoughts. He wanted to talk it through because he'd lost his mother and father, my nan and granddad, and that was it. and he
See
thought
what?
I'll have he thought he'd have a listen back as he was recording it. As he was listening to it, he heard a dog barking. Now, okay, he said there was nothing around, nothing going on. My nan and granddad's Brandy, our Brandy, had to be put down. She was quite ill. Not long after they passed, and he swore it was Brandy. He swore it was Brandy. He could hear. Some years later, he put the tape back in, and he wanted to have a listen to it again, and there was no dog on it.
I was about to say that. Yeah, did you play it back?
Yeah, it's I find it very difficult to talk about Misty. And you've had 3 in the last, what, 3 or 4 weeks? And
It's sort of dog. So, and that was the last bit of my mum that was still around and now gone. Yeah.
yeah,
But they're together. You know, I know that.
yeah. I'd
And
also say,
that was proof.
that I touched on it a little bit earlier, that the grief, the loss, the longing, however your emotions take you, even if you can see them go off, you know, with your mom, even if you can see, you don't see any of that, sorry. I really hate the fact when people go, well, it was only a dog,
Yeah.
or it was only a cat, or it was only your pet iguana, because that essence of that, your friend, yeah, the essence of that pet, that friend, your companion, your pet, yeah, what I said, the essence of that person gave you more than you probably ever could give them. You know, it's given you some days something to believe in, that
Mm.
love. Some days something to be confused about because they ain't, you know, they might growl at you, but then you'd be going, you okay? You know, might have a thorn in a paw or something. You get to know, you get very close, especially on the land, and you get to know, and the personalities that we've spoken about. I don't think you can, you know, somebody might say, well, I was with my other half for 50 years and, you know, that grief, that loss. They, to me, they are immeasurable. Immeasurable. I don't think you can say one has more relevance than other because it depends on the person and the relationship you've had. I mean, sometimes I think you personally do things like, you know, well, yeah, we're buried, yeah, yeah, and get on. Because it's easier, isn't it? It's easier than feeling that overwhelming. Remember that, you know, old sausage, and Panda
Yeah.
Pop and the
Miss you.
Gavilar, they loved you. They loved you. And, you know, I think that we can get so caught up in other people's hang ups of saying it was only a pet or it was only a rescue dog. Do you know what? It's so much more than that sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it?
I know you're not saying anything because it's a bit different. It's different to speak about any live, but here on we just wanted to talk about loss and in the realms of the cosmos.
Yeah.
Where do they
Where do
go?
these little gems go after? How
Yeah,
do they? Do they just return as energy to source? Because that we are supposed to be this big soup, if you want to call it that. You know,
yeah,
and we all return into this or the ocean. It like taking one drop from the ocean, and then it becomes the single, and then you can put that back into the ocean.
Yeah.
So in their physical body, obviously they're in a 3D body with the intelligence that is limited to a dog. You know, but up here, who knows what they're thinking?
We get working dogs, don't we? We get police dogs. They're of different
And when you think
abilities.
of intelligence, you're thinking of it's not a spiritual intelligence, it's like an intellectual, like a human, isn't
Yeah.
it? Some are easier than others, and we're all restricted because we are in this 3D body. And that's why people do ask out, they say that, you know, we should have this power that we can do anything and manifest anything. But sometimes we need help because we are stuck in a human body and we are limited. And we do have things like Wi-Fi that can, they're an obstacle. They get in the way of connecting. And sometimes I just can't connect.
So as a tribute, as a tribute, I'd say to at this point, Christmas Eve 2024, as a tribute to our sausage, panda pops. Oh look, I'm going and Gavelot.
And for our lovely friend Cosmic Blue Avian, who has had a bit of a rough time, we are beaming out to you love and light and sending you healing.
Yeah,
And let's hope everybody has a
I'm
nice
sending
day
it.
tomorrow.
I'm sending it. I promise you. I'm just in a bit of a state talking. You know.
Oh, well, it's been, I've cried constantly for the whole month.
Yeah.
Obviously, as well, what was even worse was my mum had just had a stroke, the one that killed her, on my birthday, which was yesterday, and then losing her dog
On
on
the
my
same
birthday.
day.
Yeah, the same
And can
day.
you, and would you could you give any advice that how you've coped, or if anybody's in a place where they've just lost a dear friend, you know, um, a dog. I don't know what to say. Cat, dog, pig.
It's so different and individual with people how they cope, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know, sometimes I've been completely different with some dogs. I wrap them up and thought, okay, that's just a shell. They've gone. That it's an empty shell. It's like when a snake sheds its skin. There's nothing there. It's gone. And then other times with Panda, I did sort of open up the blanket as I buried him. I opened up the blanket and I stroked his face because he was fresh as well. He was still warm and soft. You know, a lot of the times I've had to leave him. I had to leave Gavin on the porch all day because we were rushing around doing other stuff. And
yeah.
obviously, you have to laugh about it, but he was a bit rigid and he was a very long dog.
You know what? Do you know what? I was crying, but that's why I just went like that because typical, typical. That's what happened. But you know, he was so strong, wasn't he? He was such a strong lad.
But I knew in his eyes that he was ready. He was
Yeah.
giving up. Yeah. And
So
you didn't know
yeah,
Angel, did you? Who she was dumped. Well, this is what started our charity, Angel, in 2017. She was dumped, a very elderly dog, on our doorstep, pregnant, and it was too late to abort. She had 5 puppies, of which we've still got 3, which are what, 7, 6 years old now.
loopy, loopy ones.
She was very ill with leash, and she lasted a couple of years, and then she used to love laying outside on the front on the grass. And I was walking the dogs one morning, and I was so busy. I'll be back in a minute. I'll be back in a minute. And she put her head up, and she wasn't really frail by then. And on my second walk back, she looked up to me as I went out, and I think she was saying, I'm going to go now. And when I came back, she was dead. I was gutted because I was so busy rushing, and I felt really guilty. But obviously, I stroked her. I did stroke her afterwards. I spoke to her. she was buried in her favourite spot where she laid in the sun. But she,
Oh,
yeah, her eyes
yeah,
were the same. She looked up and I knew she was ready
that
to
was it.
go. It's always like a week before I've found when they're old or they're dying. It's always like a week before that something happens. Usually they get like a burst of energy when they're old, and
And
then
maybe eat when they weren't eating before.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we had a pup arrive when she was on her last legs, and sort of gave her a new lease of life for about a week, and then she just went rapidly downhill. And then she had a lovely meal, ate, and then the next day she passed. Yeah. So,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I think when these things happen to us, just as much as you can, like with humans, try and remember as much as you can those good times
yeah, and just
and keep
love them
them
while they're
close.
alive, love them while
Keep
they're
them.
alive as much as you can, and
Yeah,
speak to them because
yeah.
they do.
What an important thing to say. Make sure you here on this mortal coil, and when they got talk to them because they understand more than you realise, and they
Yeah,
connect with you more than you realise.
we all say it. I'm going out. I'm just going to pop into the shop. Be back in a minute. When I leave the land, I call them puppies. I always say, see you in the morning, and they'll all go and lay down because they know that I'm going for the night, and I'll be back in the
Yeah,
morning. If I'm
sorry.
going to the shop, I'll just go out for lunch. I'll say, well, I'm just going to shop. I'll be back in a minute, and then I'll be waiting at the gates, and I'm going to bring some goodies back.
Yeah,
So yeah, they do understand.
it's important to recognise that dogs, pets, whoever, your animals have a heart, a soul, a mind, whatever they can configure, whatever they're feeling, they feel hurt, they feel pain, they feel love, and their
Yeah, when I
reaction to
was
that
with them at the
is
store,
different. Yeah,
I with Honey, you never met her, but she was literally, she was just a bag of bones, no hair. Just, she was ready to die under the tree. And we drove by and saw her. And I just picked her up, put her in my arms and took her home. And she survived. She got kind of well and she had an extra a year. And she did pass eventually because she had a lot of health problems. But at least she died happy. She was loved. And I think that was a lot for her to be loved, and she appreciated that.
you know the simple things in life like warmth, water, food, understanding. I think that goes a long way
Mm,
um, for a person, for a human, let alone an animal. So I'm going to have to end it there myself because I've
yeah,
got to go. But thank you so much, Warrior Girl, for being here. I'm nearly, I can't tell you
you
what the time
everyone.
is here, but it's
Mm.
late afternoon and it's early evening for you,
It's
isn't it, in
dark,
Cyprus?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's dark.
But I just, I'm so, if again, if anybody has any experiences, examples of how they felt, anything that they've felt after a pet's died, or as
Holidays.
you know, or you have a happy holiday too, Warrior Girl, and everybody else. I hope you keep everybody close, your pets close, your humans close, and
With the
just
love.
enjoy being with each other. Just
Yeah.
have that time together. All right then. So, is it all right to say goodbye, Auntie Tina?
Yes, yes, your dogs are here. Well, Polly's asleep on the
When,
bed.
when is that?
So,
My who's that? Is that my Polly Janim?
Polly, look, Mummy's
Polly
on top.
Janim, Chocosa Janim, Chocosa Janim. Hello, baby.
She's like,
Oh
yeah,
God,
well,
Don't, because I'll start again. I'm missing her so much. Oh, yak shamla Janim. Oh, bless her. All right,
Don't like this.
everybody, I'm going to say goodbye from
Happy
me, Marie.
Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. And
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
see
see you
you
soon here on a Cosmic Crown conversation.
Christmas and New Year.
Love and light to everybody. All right,
Love and
take care.
light. Lots of light. Bye.
We're going to do that. See you, T. Speak to you
Bye.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.